Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to EEC English Indonesian Translation. So let's continue our materials today as we have discussed the difficulties in translating cultural specific items. And now we are going to continue with practicing. We will learn how to translate relative clauses. So actually this is kind of important as we often find this kind of clauses from English, and it is also essential for us to understand the rule and to make the Indonesian translation better and also precise. Okay, guys, so I hope you still remember about relative clauses. You have studied this in last semester in structure B, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. And relative clauses is a clause that function explaining the noun. So we have several markers for indicating the relative clauses, and usually the clauses modifies a noun. So it actually function as like adjective, but it is in the form of clause. So the clauses must be connected with the noun before. So they are like one construction. So it modifies the noun, like giving more information for the noun. So guys, in good translation, we should avoid unnecessary word of style from the source language. So we have to know the good style in choosing the diction for our Indonesian translation of a English text. Okay, for example, in Bahasa Indonesia, actually the use of word phrase yang mana, di mana, so everything with mana is actually unacceptable for formal language or for formal context. It's like what is it? Like it has been a common mistake, but actually it is common for conversational use, but in scientific and formal writing, it is better for us to avoid this kind of style. So avoid the use of yang mana, di mana, untuk mana. So everything with mana. So it's actually kind of what is it like? It doesn't refer precisely what is the concept being explained, right? So yang mana, yeah, yang mana, right? So it's kind of ambiguous and not formal. Okay, so for example, when we have relative clause and the marker or the indicator is with whom, we cannot simply translate it into yang mana. For example, in the sentence, the girl with whom he met yesterday is a famous actress. We have to understand the meaning of the sentence carefully. So we can avoid the use of yang mana. So when we translate it like this one, perempuan yang mana dia temui kemarin adalah seorang aktris terkenal. So we cannot use yang mana in formal situation. It's actually a mistake. So we can just use in yang, only yang instead of yang mana. For example, like perempuan yang ia temui kemarin adalah seorang aktris terkenal. So besides yang mana, di mana, and untuk mana, they are not accepted. Truthfully. Okay. If you want to use the standard written Bahasa Indonesia. But in speech, I think it is better for us to avoid this construction or this style. So in relative clauses, we have 5W and 1H, right? For example, when we are talking about more information about the place. Yeah, the noun is a location or a place. We can use where, but we cannot simply translate where into di mana. So how to avoid these styles, the use of the word mana? So let's get to the tips. So we have several points to keep in mind. For example, if we have the noun is location, place, or area, so it refers to place, we can simply use the word tempat instead of di mana to begin the relative clause. For example, the restaurant in which we celebrated Tina's birthday was burned last night. So instead of saying it as restoran di mana kami merayakan ultah Tina terbakar tadi malam. So we can change the phrase di mana by using tempat. Restoran tempat kami merayakan ultah Tina terbakar tadi malam. So I think it's better and it's more acceptable. And then when we have the relative clause that refers to time, we can use several words as the alternative, such as saat, waktu, ketika, hari, at the beginning of the relative clause. For example, we enter the year in which democracy becomes people's demand. We can translate it into bahasa Indonesia as kita memasuki tahun ketika demokrasi menjadi tuntutan masyarakat. So don't use di mana. Usually in like what is it? It has been a habit to use di mana, right? Kita memasuki tahun di mana, it's actually not accepted, guys. And then next, if we have the relative clause functioned as a connector, we can use the construction, the word yang. But in bahasa Indonesia, yang, this word cannot be functioned as an object. So for example, the president whom you slept with last night is my uncle. Presiden yang tidak tidur denganmu tadi malam adalah pamanku. Okay, so it is better for us to use yang instead of yang mana. It is more acceptable. And then you can practice translating the relative clause by doing the exercise. So I want to know how you translate it and never use the word mana. All right. So before you start doing the exercise, I will explain a bit about translating conditional. So it's actually connected with the translating relative clause. Do you still remember about conditionals, conditional sentence, or conditional clause? It's similar to if clause. That those are the same, but just different terms. But in Bahasa Indonesia and English, they are actually different. They differ very much. In English, we have 3 types of conditional sentence, and it differs in terms of meaning and time. So for type 1, it's about it most like prediction, and then for number 2, it's the opposite of the reality, and the type 3, it's more about regret. But in Bahasa Indonesia, we don't have those types, so we only have it like, they are all just the same. So if we translate conditional sentence from English to Bahasa Indonesia, we can use the word kalau, jika, and akan. Although it's actually like the equivalence for type 1 conditionals yang pakai present and then will, right? In type 2, actually we have past tense and would, and for type 3 we have had and then verb 3 and then would have. But in Bahasa Indonesia, as we don't have those system, we only translate it into everything, every types, just kalau or jika and akan. For example, if you have to go, I will die. Jika kau harus pergi, aku akan mati. So whether it is type 1, type 2, or type 3, yeah, they are all just the same in Bahasa Indonesia. Okay, so those are the steps in translating relative clauses and conditionals, and I will mix the exercise together and I will put several numbers so you don't have to do all the questions. But if you want to practice more, you can just do the exercise on your module. Okay, guys, so we will continue with the new materials next week. So I think that's all for the explanation. I hope it will shed a light on how to translate the relative clauses and conditionals into good and standard Bahasa Indonesia. Alright guys, thank you very much. Thanks for listening.